Hey there, guys. Welcome to Dark Side of a Working Girl, where women tell their story about the evil things they did to get revenge. I'd like to say thank you for everyone who has subscribed and everyone who's enjoying these Saturday stories because you guys are making it all the difference. Thank you so much. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed already and you like these types of stories, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button and the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. Also, don't forget to share and comment down below. Don't be shy. Now, this story today comes from a woman that lives in the Dominican Republic. She is from the Dominican Republic, but these days she has been living in Sosua with her husband. Let's get into her story and what she did years ago. Hi, my name is Mary, and I did something very mean years ago to get revenge. I was a young, jealous woman, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But I was working like on a tourist resort, and it was a front. I was really a working girl, but I was using that job as a way to find men. Because men, they know how to scout out a woman that's willing to do something for money. And so I was using that as my clean way of getting men. Well, I saw this one man, and he was on the resort with his wife. And he caught eyes with me, and he really liked me a lot. And I could see that, and I gave him my little flash of the eyes, and not too much to be disrespectful to my coworkers and make it obvious that I was giving this man the green light. But I also, that's what I was there for, to find men on the resort. And I wasn't the only one. Most of the girls had the same type of mindset. So when his wife wasn't around, he came up to me and he said, "Hi, I just wanted to know if I can get some information about travel and tourism to the Dominican Republic." And I said, "Sure." And I knew that was just a way to introduce himself. And he's like, my wife and it's our first time here, and we heard some really good things about the Dominican Republic, but I'm just wondering if we can go off the resort. My wife is not interested in going off the resort, but I am. And I knew right there that he was asking me to take him off the resort. So I offered and I said, "I can take you off the resort." And he said, "I heard it's safe. But I'm really interested in doing some local stuff, going and seeing what some of the Dominican houses look like and have a Dominican meal authentic. I just want to get some photos of some farms and landscape, all the traditional stuff." I said, "Absolutely." So we made a plan and we met up. Now, I was sure to be very careful, and I got my brother to go get him at the resort. And I told him, I said, "I'll have my brother pick you up and bring you to my house, and I'll prepare a meal for you on my day off, and you can travel around where I live. I live just 10 minutes from this resort." And he said, "All right." He loved it. So my brother picked him up, and he came to my house, and my mom and we cooked for him, and he paid us very nicely, a few $100s. And then he said to me, "Please don't tell my wife that you were the one that entertained me today. I think my wife is a little bit jealous of you. She thinks that you like me." And I looked at him, and I knew he was just letting me know that, he liked me. And I said, "I do like you." And he's like, "No way. I'm just a white dude that, doesn't even really look good." And I'm like, "Well, to me, you look good." And really, in my head, I was thinking that he's somebody that would be able to help me. And that seemed good to me. I was hoping that if I could turn him on, I could also turn him out and make him feel like his wife is just a memory of the past, and I am his desire for the future. And it worked. He went home 2 days later, back to America after his vacation. But he stayed in touch with me through email. And we spoke through email all the time, all the time. And it was great. And then he added me on WhatsApp. And then we were really talking all the time for like 2 months. And then he said to me, listen, I'm going to come back, but I'm going to stay in an Airbnb. And I want you to come stay with me. He's like, if you want, I can get 2 rooms, or I can get 1 room and have a pull-out couch and a bed. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. He told me all that type of stuff, right? And I said, no, get 1 room with 1 bed. And he was like, all right. We knew it was going to happen. We're adults. So he did come and we got it on. It was so amazing. I rocked his world. He loved it. He fell in love right away. I could tell. Even while we were making love, he was like, oh, oh, oh. You know, his knees were shaking. And I was like, I got him. I got him. And then I got up after we made love. And he's like, no, don't get up. And I'm like, I'm going to get us something to eat. And he's like, no, not yet. He wouldn't let me go. He kept touching my body, my bum, and he's like, wow, your body's so beautiful. He was putting his hands in my curls, and he was like, wow, your hair's so kinky and cute. And he's like, look at your face. And he kept just admiring me. Now I knew I only had 3 days with this man, and I had to make it so important that he would want to make me his woman and leave his wife. And I really thought that was going to happen because I was naive. But I said to him, after 4 months of us dating, because he did go home, and like I said, he was just in love. He messaged me all the time. He started to call me baby. He started to send me money so I could get gifts. And whenever he knew someone was coming down to the Dominican Republic, he would get them to bring a gift down for me. He didn't tell his friends and family that it was a gift for a woman. He was just like, I want you to give a gift to the maid at the hotel. And they wouldn't think anything of it. And I would get gifts from him quite often, actually. Now, fast forward, and him and his wife came on vacation again. And when they came on vacation again, they stayed at the hotel. And the wife, this time, wanted to leave the resort with her husband because she saw the photos that he had on the first trip. And the trip that he came on alone to see me, she knew he was coming here. But he told her he was coming on a fishing trip. And he did do fishing on one day. But when she saw the photos of how much fun he was having, just living in the natural Dominican areas, like visiting, she wanted to try it as well. You know how wives get, they want to be up in everything. Some of them don't know how to just stay in their place. And I just got so angry at this. I thought to myself, why does this bitch want to come off the resort? Keep her on the resort. And I told him that. I said, I want to spend time with you, not you and your wife. And he said, babe, there's nothing I can do about it. You know, I'm married to this woman and she wants to come off the resort. I can't tell her no. And if I tell her no, then things are going to be like hell for the rest of the trip. And also when we get back home, she's not going to know why I won't let her come join me. And I didn't like that she had that power over him. And I didn't like that my plan wasn't working as well as I thought it would. So I decided I just want to hurt this bitch. Like, I didn't like her. Already, I didn't like her at all. I didn't like the way she looked. I didn't like the way she acted, so entitled. I didn't like the way she held his hand and the way she grabbed him and just acted like she owned him. Like, okay, I know they're married, but he didn't have passion for her, and he was faking it, and I could see he was faking it, and he just so yearned to reach out for me. I could tell that he was yearning for me through the whole entire excursion off the resort. And she was being nice to me. She was asking me questions about myself, asking me how much money I make. She just pitied me. She felt sorry for me. She was trying to get into my head to understand my life because she was curious about the Dominican culture. But I'm not her puppet. I didn't even want to answer her anything. But the more she started to ask, the more I had to answer in order to be nice. And then I got angry. And I know a mechanic. And the wife said to her husband that she wants to rent a car. She said to me when the excursion was over, she said, Mary, is it okay if we rent a car and drive around this area without a guide, like without you? She's like, I think I would like to do that. I would like to go to Puerto Plata. I would like to drive around and take some photos, just my husband and I. Is it possible for us to rent a car and just drive? Is it safe? And I said to her, yes, it is safe. And of course it's safe. She's like, I would like to rent a car for 2 days, honey, like that to him. And he said, okay, let's do that. Like just a pushover. He should have said to her he wanted to go fishing or spend more time with me, you know? Like come up with some type of an excuse. And I told him that in a WhatsApp message. I said, why didn't you tell your wife that you don't want to rent a car and that you would rather go fishing with some of the guys that you met? And he said, I didn't think about that. I'm sorry. He's like, listen, we'll have time together in the future. But this is my wife. And, her and I are on vacation together. And I have to make sure that she's happy. I have to make sure I give her what she wants. This is her vacation time. I wish they didn't come here for their vacation. But I did get them a car. And I told the mechanic friend of mine who rents out the cars, I told him to give me something that is unreliable. And he said, why? And I said, oh, because, the people that are taking it, they know how to fix a car. And the mechanic looked at me and he said, no, tell me what's going on. And I told him. And this mechanic, he likes me. And I told him I would give him a little bit of loving if he helped me out. And I told him I need the car to break down a lot. Just break down a lot. Make their trip miserable. Make them feel like they need to pull over constantly. Make the wife have a miserable experience. And he did. He cut the brakes. When you leave the resort, it's a little tiny hill that you go down. And the brakes worked a little bit. I told them when they took the car, I didn't know. First of all, let me clarify it. I didn't know he cut the brakes. I thought it was just going to be a car that maybe the starter would be something wrong with it or leaking gas and they had to keep putting gas in, something that was very bothersome, but not life-threatening. And apparently, they went down a hill. They drove down the hill. Now, leaving the resort, the hill's not that bad, so they didn't notice any type of issues with the brakes. But then you go out of a certain area, and it's all flat. But they decided to go into different areas going towards Santiago, and they just went on a whole venture. And they were going up the hill, and they didn't notice anything about the brakes. But when they went down a hill, they couldn't stop. And they just kept going, and they kept going, and they crashed. They both ended up in the hospital, and they both were injured. Not badly, but I still feel guilty about it. And there was investigation done on it. The police went to the mechanic to ask why the brakes were cut, why he would give a car that brakes were cut on. The mechanic ended up telling on the whole situation. And of course, you know, I got in trouble. And problems happened. And, you know, I didn't mean for that to happen. But I just wanted to get revenge. And I was just so angry. And I just felt like he disrespected me and he used me and he got my hopes up high and he made me believe that he was going to leave his wife for me and eventually come here and move here. And, you know, after it happened, he did contact me. And when he found out what really happened, and he said, "Why did you do that? Why would you do that to somebody's life?" And I told him, I didn't mean for an accident to happen. I just wanted his wife to have a miserable day. And he said to me, "Why?" He still didn't even understand that. And I told him I thought he was going to come here and be with me. And she was just the one in the way. And he said to me that he never planned on leaving his wife for me. He said these exact words: "I never told you I was going to be with you in the future. I never told you that I was going to move to the Dominican Republic, and I never told you that I would bring you to America. I never told you I was ever going to leave my wife. You were a fun distraction, somebody that I enjoyed being with. But it didn't mean I was going to be with you forever." Those words stung, and they made me feel even angrier. But I learned from them that just because a man desires you doesn't mean that he respects you or plans to be with you forever. I did that to them, and I feel bad about it till this day. But I also feel like it was something that I did and learned from and will never do again. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to Dark Side of a Working Girl. Oh, oh my gosh, we gotta be careful out there, you know. Gotta be careful. Do not get involved with a woman that has the tendency to get too wound up in her emotions and fantasy world, because she will end up trying to get revenge on you and doing you wrong. Take care of yourselves out there, guys. Cuídate. I love you. Huge hugs, loads of love. Make sure you treat yourself good today. Please take a moment to subscribe and hit that like button. Don't forget to comment down below what you would do in a situation like this.